My name is Samantha Shapiro, or Sam. I am married to David Shapiro, and we have 3 girls. I was born in Goshen, and I've lived here pretty much my whole life. I get to stay home with my girls and work from home a little bit, so I'm very fortunate and just have loved my time being at home. I came to accept Christ when I was pretty young. I want to say maybe 5 or 6, but I remember one morning early, I used to get up with my dad when he would wake up really early to go to work, and my mom sat and prayed with me. So I remember that. I don't remember all of the feelings and stuff behind it, but I do remember that I knew that who Jesus was, and I knew that I needed him in my heart. I think back then it was more that I wanted to go to heaven, and I knew that he was the way to get to heaven, and so I was going to do it, and that was something that I wanted to do. As I grew up, our church kind of fell apart a little bit, and so my family started going to different churches and just trying to figure out which one would fit and which one felt right. And we didn't really find that. So we did that for about a year. And my parents we didn't go to church as much. And so I found different friends that I would go to church with. One of my friends went to Pathway, and they invited me to youth group. And so that's how I started getting into Pathway. And I just felt connected right at the beginning. Fortunately, I had a friend that would bring me, but I also I felt connected. It felt like that's where I needed to be. So for a while, I started coming to Pathway in 7th grade. And for a while, my friends would bring me, my parents would bring me. But for the most part, I was coming on my own. And I remember there were a couple times where I would feel kind of bogged down by that, because there's certain times where Mother's Day or Father's Day, or different times where you pray for people in the church. And I remember one specific time on a Sunday morning, Pastor Scott had asked us to pray as a family. And I was sitting, with the youth group at the time, and I looked around, and my friends scattered off to go to their families, and I kind of started panicking because I didn't know what to do. And so my youth pastor at the time was in the front row with his son, and they knew and turned around and prayed with me. And so there's several things throughout the years that God placed those people in my life, but he put those moments in my life for me to remember, and he knew what I needed. And so some of those moments just really stick with me. So as I went through middle school, I was coming to Pathway on my own, and I was able to, I was blessed to have some friends that would help me get there, or my parents would drop me off. And then when I was about in 10th grade, my parents started coming with me to church. And they've been here ever since. But I would say once I was probably early high school, all of these moments kind of built up. And it wasn't just I need Jesus to get to heaven, which I still, you still do. But it was a thing where I knew I needed more of a relationship. It wasn't just I'm coming to youth, I'm coming to Sunday mornings, I get to see my friends and the people here. There was a hunger for it, and it was something that I knew I needed. And so I had youth leaders and youth pastor that were some of the biggest people at the time that poured into my life and made me understand what a relationship with God looked like. So I was able to have those people truly show me how to walk with God. And I think it's neat over the years as I look back, I can see those moments that just kind of build up to where I am now. And it's been neat to reflect on. Yeah, so I keep coming back to the word that God's just consistent. And, if you take some time and reflect, at the beginning, I didn't know the full picture. I still don't know the full picture. But I can see the moments that God was there and he was consistent when I was young, in middle school and high school, and even now as I'm an adult and raising my own kids. And so I feel like he's just been consistent. And I know that I might stumble, or there might be different things, or trials, anything that comes up. I know he's consistent and going to be there. One of my favorite verses is Isaiah 41:10. And, it says, "Do not be afraid, do not fear, he is with me." Just summing it up. But that's one of my favorite verses that I just know that God's with me and he's consistent and he always will be.